Look, we need more fathers in America. I don't give a fuck. We need more dads in America acting like they fucking have a pair and being men.
School shootings and these mass shootings, most of them are rumored to be Caucasian that have severe mental issues that are overly medicated.
Antidepressants, no dad, bad result. When I was in high school, and I graduated in the 80s, mid-80s, we used to take guns to school. The difference between 1980 and 1985 and today is we didn't walk down the hall pulling the trigger. You go look at these kids that go through and kill their classmates. Oftentimes they either have a weak or non-existent father figure, so they come from homes that don't have a dad.
I want to clarify things for the fathers listening that are so busy doing other things with their friends, they're gambling, they're drinking. Just because you live in the house and you come home from work every day doesn't mean you're fucking present.
Bingo.
What's up? I'm here with my man, Steve Gruber. What's going on, man?
Man, it is a busy time. It's nuts, isn't it? I mean, every place you look is a big story blowing up. Here's a big issue. Here's a big issue. Wait, we got something bigger over here. Hold my beer. We got more. For me, I've been a news junkie since I was a kid. My family, we used to sit around and watch the nightly news with Walter Cronkite, maybe a little before your time, maybe not. But my dad, that was the deal. We'd sit there and we'd watch the nightly news. On Sunday nights, you watch 60 Minutes, back when 60 Minutes mattered, which was a long time ago now. But so that was just kind of the way we were raised, around information. And there's so much stuff going on right now, whether you're looking at the border or the economy or all these things going on with Russiagate and Adam Schiff and James Comey. Man, it's entertaining. I'll tell you that. It's entertaining.
You know, it's wild to me because you talk about Walter Cronkite and these old school newscasters. It's almost like back then, you got the actual news for what it was. And sometimes now, you know, depending on what station you listen to, there's a different spin on it. But back in the day, I could be ignorant. But no, when I was a kid, I felt like the news was the news was the news was the news, man.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the way it is, you know,
and
that was Walter Cronkite, right? And so here's the thing. Walter Cronkite was the most trusted man in America. You couldn't say that about anybody on TV today, I don't think. I don't think anybody would vote anybody that's on the major networks anywhere above 10%. And here's the thing about Walter Cronkite or Mike Wallace over at 60 Minutes, Morley Safer and those guys. They were all Democrats, every one of them, but you didn't know it. You didn't have to know because Walter Cronkite would just get on there, put on his glasses, and he wasn't the well-coiffed, looking, he just an average looking dude. But he gave you the news and he was honest and they were compelling. And so somebody like Mike Wallace, University of Michigan guy, would go out and he just bust the balls of whoever. If he thought you were lying, he'd just crush you. He would just run. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat, Republican, Independent, didn't matter. He would just smash you for being dishonest or being shady or whatever it was. We need more of that. We just need truth tellers. Just get out there and tell me the damn truth. I'm an opinion guy, but I try really hard to tell the people the truth. And this is why I have my opinion, because it's based on these facts. Right?
Yeah.
And this is the foundation for it. And that's what we do.
Yeah, it's a good point, right? Because I enjoy truth tellers, right? And what we try to do on our show too is hey, everybody, you can come tell your story. You can give me your opinion. I'm cool with it. You know, all I'm looking for is good conversation. I want neutral platform. No one needs to know where I stand. No one needs to know where somebody else stands. And you surely don't need to cast stones at somebody because they sit on either side of the aisle. And that's what we have going on in America. And it is, I thought COVID was the height of it. Holy shit, man. It's getting worse.
It is worse.
That was the baseline.
Well, here's the concern. I had a guy on today on the program this morning from the UK. My God, he says they're getting arrested every day, 12, 15, 20 people a day for what they post on Facebook or X or wherever, because what they said, not that it did offend somebody, that it might offend somebody. I'm like, holy shit. How is that even possible? Because we sit here in America and we have this illusion, and it's wrong. We have this illusion that the whole world, the Western world, UK, France, Germany, whatever, have freedom of speech. They don't. They're being arrested for what they put on social media, not because it did offend somebody or threaten somebody, but they might be offended by something they said, like, hey, I'm a Christian and I don't want, these folks taking over my block to do the chant at 5 a.m. Oh, well, that's offensive to these Muslims over here. To jail you go. They'll pound on your door at 3 a.m. and whisk you out to jail. So I asked the guy, I said, is that real? He goes, oh, it's real. Happens every single day. And I'm like, holy shit. Just frightening to me because to me, same thing. What you just said, Shawn, is exactly right. I believe in conversation. I had a young man here on the program. He's got a couple million followers. He's far left guy. He's a Gen Z guy, and he hates Donald Trump, and that's fine. I said, come on the program. We'll talk about it because I'll take all comers. All comers. Anybody wants to talk about a conversation, and at the end, he puts it up on YouTube, and he gets a few 100,000 views of the post interview that I did live, and he says I was surprised. He invited me back. We had a conversation. We found, and basically found common ground. Because if you actually talk to people and don't polarize yourself and don't say, I don't want to hear what you have to say and plug your ears and do that nonsense, you might learn something. If you listen once in a while, you might learn something.
Well, I think the best conversations, and there can be peace, not complete peace in the world, but just peace inside everybody if you just listen a little bit.
Yeah. God gave you 2 ears and one mouth. Somebody told me a long time ago. So listen twice as much as you talk. And then here I am talking for a living, and so are you. But still, the point applies. We need to listen to each other more. This whole idea that, well, I voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I hate you. I don't like you. Trump can do nothing right. Trump does everything right. Come on. It can't be that way. He does. Look, you might agree with some things, don't agree with other things. That's true of any politician. I don't agree with anybody 100% of the time. I'm not even sure I agree with myself 100% of the time.
Sometimes I don't know if I agree with myself, right?
Exactly.
It's one of those things it's like, look, guys, you can love them, hate them. Somewhere in the middle is the truth, but no one's searching for that middle, that common ground. Everybody wants to be so polarized. And you mentioned something earlier that struck up a thought of some of the things that you've been covering lately. There's a lot of scary things going on in this world.
Oh, there are.
Most recently, beginning of June, there was some people arrested from China for bringing in this potential bioweapon to the United States of America that could wipe out up to maybe half of our crops. Like, this is some serious implications.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our Powered By sponsor. We're proud to announce a partnership between White Sands Treatment Centers and the Determined Society. With multiple locations across Florida, White Sands provides luxury, top-rated addiction treatment, from medical detox and inpatient care to outpatient support and long-term aftercare. Their resort-style campuses, expert clinicians, and holistic programs create real, lasting recovery. Together, we're committed to bringing hope, resources, and healing to those who need it most. White Sands Treatment Centers.
This is crazy stuff. So University of Michigan has had two major events in the last 6 months, and I want to touch on both of them. The first one happened, 5 Chinese students that were attending University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, not too far from where I'm sitting here, were caught up at Camp Grayling. And for anybody who doesn't know what Camp Grayling is, it is the biggest military training camp in America. I mean, when I grew up in southern Michigan here, you would see the convoys streaming north every summer as they'd come in from Georgia and Florida and Texas, wherever. They all come up here to do training and so on and so forth. So here a few months ago, the Taiwanese army was here doing training with American military personnel. So 5 students at the University of Michigan get arrested up there. They're up there taking pictures and all this. And they said, well, we're journalists. They weren't journalists. They were spies. Very simple. They were spies, and they're up there taking pictures of Taiwan and American military operations and exercise and so forth. So that's pretty chilling right there. That's scary shit, right? Right there.
That's enough. Like that right there is enough to scare the shit out of me, dude.
Well, and it should. Yeah. And so then you fast forward to what you just mentioned here just a few weeks ago, not once, not twice, but 3 different occasions, apparently. These Chinese students returning from China to Ann Arbor, to the University of Michigan, caught with bioweapons, one of them being a fungus. Now, when you talk about agriculture in America, corn, beans, rice, whatever you're talking about, fungicide is out there. These funguses are already out there. But what happens and what they were concerned about and what we should be very concerned about, and Brooke Rawlings, the ag secretary, and all the rest should be very concerned about, they take a fungus from Michigan. They return to China. They work on it there. They tinker with it, if you will. Then they bring it back, and maybe it becomes fungicide resistant. And I talked to farmers. I think you saw part of this piece that we did with John Solomon. The farmer's concern is this: if our fungicide has been neutralized to some extent, you could lose half your corn crop, half your bean crop, half your rice, half your sorghum, half all of your grain crops get halved. And he said, we could survive that for a bit. You know who would pay the price, though? first, it wouldn't be America. It'd be sub-Saharan Africa. Those countries rely on the food that we send them, despite all the people. America's a bad place. America is not a bad place. It's a wonderful place. We feed the world. We feed Namibia and South Africa and Botswana and all those places, right? And if we got hit, we would keep the grain to ourselves. So those places would suffer first. But one of the farmers, I wanted to talk to these farmers out in the field, and they said, look, if you can knock down the American grain supply by half or more, and it went on for a couple of years, you would have famine in America. And I go back to Zimbabwe, mid-1980s, right? The big change and apartheid went away. That's not the point. Up to that point, that country fed most of sub-Saharan Africa. They had a bunch of political upheaval and so on and so forth. Suddenly, they had a famine of 5 million people in the late 80s, early 90s. People died. Can you imagine if the cornfields of Iowa and Illinois and Nebraska and Michigan and Ohio were destroyed? Good God. But if you want to control, this is the oldest play in the political book. You want to take over a group of people? Take their food away. Control the food supply, control the people. Right? I mean, that's it. So here's where I come to on this. The Chinese Communist Party, which, by the way, only represents about 10% of the people in China. You would think it was the whole thing. No, it's only about 10%, 60 to 100 million people, roughly. The rest of the place, not party members. But if they could control the food supply here, that would be a way to get into America. We know they have 500,000 acres of land here, really not real big, but enough where they could come in. They wouldn't have to go to Bob Jones' farm down the street and plant this fungus. They could do it in their own farms. And then, of course, the air currents would take it downwind and it would spread. But here's so many problems with China that I have. So you look at the infiltration to the universities, because it's not just the University of Michigan, it's Michigan State, it's University of Texas, it's Florida State, it's Arkansas, it's all of them, Texas A&M. Every state has a land grant institution that focuses on agriculture, and every one of those sons of bitches needs the money. Because they've all become addicted to the money, and the Chinese pay top dollar to bring non-residents here to go to school, to steal our ideas, to take them back. That's not paranoid. That's what's happening. China has no respect for intellectual property. They have no respect for rules and regulations, which is why we keep having these things. The kids up there taking pictures of the Taiwanese military exercises or bringing in these funguses, or the biolabs that were unlicensed and unregulated that made the news a year ago in California. I mean, it's just one thing. And that's just what you hear about, Shawn. What about the things you don't hear about, right? But these universities are so addicted to that money. I mean, a lot of these universities are kind of in trouble because enrollment's dropped. So that Chinese money, we'll kind of look the other way. Don't look the other way, please. Pay attention, because this is really important stuff. And I know we have a lot to worry about these days, but this infiltration into agriculture is of great concern. We had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on. We had Brooke Rollins on. John Solomon speaks for himself at Just the News, does incredible investigative work. And I worked with him on this to put it all together. We did great work together. And there's a lot to be concerned with because of the infiltration of these people who have, let's be honest, political motives. There's a saying in China in Mandarin that I don't speak Mandarin. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there is
I bet you do, though. I bet you at least can say one thing, and you're about
maybe.
to. You're
I can't. My wife would be, Ivy be upset if I actually said
Ivy
it.
be upset. Hi, Ivy.
But they have this saying, everything under heaven, right? So we hear about how they think that Taiwan is a rogue province. Pretty common knowledge, right? People know that. What they don't realize is that they think the United States is a rogue province, and so is Canada, and so is Argentina, and so is Malta, and so is every country under the sun. They think it's all China. It's just a matter of time. And, unless we get our act together, maybe they're not wrong. And that is frightening.
What's frightening is this is happening under our noses. It's happening in our university system. It's happening in America where there's spies coming over. And everybody listening right now looks at, Russia and Ukraine and go, wow, man, thank God we live here because we're safe. Are we? You don't know what's going on the back end, underneath the carpet. Even something that was highly publicized as this fungus that they're bringing in. I don't have a lot of people in my circle talking about it. And quite honestly, until I came in contact with you, I was like, wait a second. I heard about this, but it's almost like, are they silencing this thing? And what is the government actually doing about this?
Well, you wonder, look, I'm not to pick on any particular group, but you look, there's several politicians that have really close ties to China, both current and former. Look, they're getting paid too. There's money here, a lot of money. And again, I'm going back to the university system and the Confucius Institutes, which are all over this country. That's nothing more than a pipeline to bring in Chinese doctrine. However you want to look at that, maybe you think it's good, maybe you think it's bad. I think it's probably more bad than good because they're delivering Chinese doctrine. I mean, look at the guy running for mayor in New York City. Look, he's an outright communist. He is. He would fit right in with the Chinese doctrine. Not my flavor. I like America. I like free enterprise. I like free people, right? I do. And so you've got this pipeline in. We should try to figure out how to get it fixed. But my concern is, whether it's in the university systems like University of Michigan or wherever you might be there, and whatever university closest to your house, they look the other way because if they show up with $10 million, $15 million, $20 million, $100 million, oh, we're going to invest in this new facility and this new lab you're building. By gosh, we're partners. You're never really partners with these folks. It's always transactional to them. What can they get out of it? Where do they come out ahead on this deal? And from where I stand, they come out ahead on a lot of different places. And you're right, it's not in the headlines. And I don't know that it's intentional, but there's, any given day, there's this bomb went off, this bombshell happened, this happened, whatever it is. And you take that and couple it with one other thing, this thing. You got one of these?
Yeah.
And so, right. How much time do you spend? Because here's what we also have. We have an entertainment society. Oh, I'd be worried about that Chinese thing, but the big game's on at 8:00 tonight. I'm going to watch the football game. And then I'm going to get 3.5 points on that game. So I'm going to focus on, there's a new movie. I'm going to binge watch this new show. I hear it's really good. And it probably is. Whatever. I mean, shows like Landman, love it. I can sit there, I'd watch it. I think it's great. But people live in a distracted society where they're not paying. First of all, they don't pay attention to their kids enough. They don't pay attention to their spouses enough. Of a lot of people, not true of everybody. They're distracted by the football game, the new video, the TikTok, which by the way is another Chinese thing, and all of this. And we're not paying attention, son. We're distracted all the damn time. And trust me, my ADD has had me distracted since I was 3 years old. But it's worse for a lot of folks. I mean, ADD is kind of my secret weapon because I do it differently.
It's my superpower, man.
Exactly.
Because I share that with you, right? And there's times where my ADHD is so bad, but I can hyper focus on certain things.
Yep.
Like building this business, I can hyper focus on it. I can hyper focus in an interview, and it never used to be that way. I remember when I first started, I would have to oh my gosh, I forgot what they just said. Right. But I could always turn myself back.
I only laugh because I can totally identify with that. Man, I'd be in college. I told Ivy this a number of times. I'd be in college and I'd have a textbook and I'd sit there and I'd read the book or whatever, and I'd go, man, I know I just read that page and I don't know what it is. You know what? I'll read it again. And I get done and go, now I know I've read it twice and I have no idea because my brain's 1,000 other places. And I'm, and that's long before we had cell phones and nonsense, right? The complicating factor now is you've got, laptops and cell phones and your car talks to you and everybody's talking. You're just messaging all the time, right?
It's interesting because you talk about a distracted society. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and claim that, Steve Jobs is, his idea was to distract society. I'm not going to say that Zuckerberg, when he started Facebook and then eventually bought Instagram and made it a part of Meta, was the common goal just to distract society so other people can come and infiltrate America. But can it not be a product of that? Can we make the argument that we're so freaking distracted, not even paying attention to our own kids and our spouses, to where we're buried in the phone, searching, like you said, the TikTok or the Instagram or the Facebook or the Threads or the X, worrying about all these other things, then what is actually going on that could potentially freaking kill generations?
Well, I mean, think about this. For example, our electrical grid is in terrible shape. Nobody ever talks about it. It would take one good, smoking of a couple of stations, boom, we'd be real problems there. You look at our municipal water supplies, and I'm not trying to give anybody ideas. vulnerable because most of them are wide open. I'm not giving you a primer on this. I'm just saying, municipal water supply. You want to drop 10,000 fentanyl pills in a municipal water supply? What does that do? Or 100? Because this stuff's still coming in by the truckload. Not like it did. We're slowing it down, but it's still here. We're vulnerable. I mean, what happens if one of these crazy madmen, like the guy that went into Manhattan here, into the NFL building here a couple of weeks ago and opens.
Went to the wrong building, went to the wrong office.
Yeah, but what if he shows up at a football game at a major university, right? And even though you can't get into the facility itself, but all the way around, tailgaters and all this stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, Shawn. Would you be surprised if that happened on the first Saturday of college football? No, nobody would be surprised. That's point. The sad damn thing.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's like, there's a difference, right? Being surprised versus being really upset about it. I would be very upset and sad that happened, obviously, and so would you.
Absolutely.
But to say that I can't believe that just freaking happened. Like, come on, man, come on. There's been stuff like this going on.
It just happened not too far from the guy. It's just a couple of weeks ago, just not too far from me, Traverse City, Michigan. People are at Walmart. Some guy starts randomly stabbing people at the Walmart. A 94-year-old woman gets stabbed. Is that what
was going on?
Yeah. At the Walmart, the guy, thank God he only had a 3.5-inch knife. He was a mental patient because we've destroyed our mental health in this country. That's a whole different conversation. But we have no place to put people, and we should. So this guy's roaming the streets, and he starts randomly stabbing people. And thankfully, he just had a folding pocket knife and not, something more effective. Thank God, because those people would have died. They all lived unbelievably. All 11 of them survived, including a 94-year-old woman. Jesus. Look, I'm just going to Walmart to buy some shit. Would you leave me alone? I mean, honestly, I don't need that kind of pressure. Who does? Right?
I guess stick to Target. You know what I mean? Like, hell, man, I don't know what to say. It's
French
crazy.
Clothing store.
But hey, here's what's nuts. When you said Traverse, Michigan, I was in Traverse, what was it? July. So it's what month
Traverse
is it?
City. You
August?
said you had some friends in Michigan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was there for an event. Yeah. With Eric Thomas, I was up there. We were hanging out at an event he did for Glover U, a big real estate conference. He was a speaker there. So we were hanging out, but that is the most, the Sleepy Bear Dunes are there, Lake Michigan, all these beautiful sites. When you say Traverse, Michigan, I'm like, wait, what happened?
There's a reason that Kid Rock's saying about Northern Michigan. There is no better place on the planet from today through the middle of October. There's no better place on the planet. You've got Lake Michigan, you've got the big lakes, you've got nice little towns, great little bars and restaurants and stuff all over the place. You got the Sleeping Bear Dunes, you've got a little Traverse Bay, you got Traverse City, Michigan, you've got Petoskey and Charlevoix and Bay Harbor and all these wonderful places, and there's a reason that, Kid Rock is up there. Nice house he has, by the way. It's a cool place. He's on Lake Charlevoix, 18,000 acre lake that leads into Lake Michigan. It's just a wonderful place. And so this is not where you expect some guy to start whipping out a dagger and stabbing, look, they're at Walmart, for God's sake. They're just trying to get by, mind their own business. And these totally random crimes, right? Random. And then I see this on that same note, these poor people that got their heads kicked in Cincinnati. Good Lord, what? They're leaving a jazz festival and they've had a couple of drinks. They get mouthy and they get beaten into, almost fatal beatings. Why are we doing this, people? Why is this happening? You got to ask yourself, why are we doing this?
Well, I think, to your point, Steve, it goes back to the mental health, right? The mental health capacity, or the situation we have. And I think a lot of it is driven. I don't want to blame it on social media, but I think it makes things worse for some people that don't have the coping mechanisms. Some people that are potentially overly medicated. Is it true? And I don't know. I know you and I are both men of opinions, right? Sure. And so I don't want the fact checkers and the trolls to come out here and say that we're two idiots. And, so if you're,
they will anyway.
Yeah, they will. Fine. Fucking bring it. Whatever. Yeah, we're Teflon. We have thick skin. For these different types, we're talking, like school shootings and these mass shootings, most of them are rumored to be Caucasian that have severe mental issues that are overly medicated.
A lot of truth to that.
I don't know if it's true, but
Here's something.
that's what they say.
Here's one of the common denominators that I've found looking at school shooters. And look, when I was in high school, I graduated in the 80s, mid 80s. We used to take guns to school, but we'd go out after school and go deer hunting or duck hunting or whatever. We'd hunt a little bit after school. The difference between 1980 and 1985 and today is we didn't walk down the hall pulling the trigger. And I don't know. I don't honestly know what changed between there and Columbine, right? Because Columbine changed everything. But I think you're right on the money about social media. I don't know if it caused it, but I think it amplifies mental illness oftentimes because people get on there, say the craziest stuff, and then the next guy gets angry and he wants to get even, and they're amped up all the time, and their stress levels or their dopamine's out of whack all the time. Maybe. You wonder. That's why I wear the magic ring, by the way, so I can keep track of my stress level. So my new thing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you got the ring?
I got the magic ring. Yeah, I got the magic ring.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
You got the magic ring? Is that your magic ring? Yeah. Anyhow, it keeps my stress under it. But I think that there's a mental health issue in America. It goes back to the 1950s because that's when we started dismantling the mental hospitals in America. Part of it was because they didn't want to label people, right? They didn't want to label people, and the ACLU was part of the impetus. And you can go back and check this. They didn't want to, give people this stigma. Oh, they got this problem. Bob's weird. Bob's been to the mental hospital. So they started taking that away. Well, what do we got now? You have mental people walking the streets or living in homeless encampments from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco and every point in between because we don't have a solution at the moment. And I don't know that we're going to, but their solution is, take more drugs. I don't think that's working. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Back to the school shooters. Just wanted to make this point. Common denominator. Most of these are white males, not all of them, but a disproportionate number with no father figure. With no father figure in the house. You go look at these kids that go through and kill their classmates. Oftentimes they either have a weak or non-existent father figure. So they come from homes that don't have a dad. We need more dads in America. That's a fact. Yeah, we need more real dads acting like dads, being what dads need to be. Mom and dad have different roles in the household. And generally speaking, kids benefit greatly from having both. If you don't have dads in the house, those school shooters, and they also, antidepressants, no dad, bad result.
Yeah. I mean, wow. That's true. I mean, I'm thinking of all the people right now that are so mad at that, so mad at the truth. Dads are freaking important.
Mad at me right now? I don't give a fuck. Look, we need more fathers in America. I don't give a fuck.
It's the fact.
We need more dads in America acting like they fucking have a pair and being men. Be real men. All right. Stand up, have a pair, be a dad, talk to your kids, tell them when they're wrong. And I'm not very good at it. Ivy says, you went kind of easy on them. She does that too. And she might be right. I'm a little soft to my kids sometimes. But I'm present.
But you're there.
Right.
And I want to clarify things for the fathers listening that are so busy in their business, so busy doing other things with their friends, they're gambling, they're drinking. Just because you live in the house and you come home for work every day doesn't mean you're fucking present.
Bingo. You're fucking right.
There's
Bingo.
a difference between being dude, hey, non-negotiables in our house, man. Non-negotiables. There's no screen time during the week. There's never screen time at restaurants looking at iPads or
That's
what
right.
the fuck is that?
You know what the funny thing about that is? It's my middle daughter that implemented that rule. We're at dinner, no phone. I pick up my phone.
Love her.
Yeah.
Love
my
her.
middle daughter, no phones at dinner. And we don't do it as much as we should. We should do it more. Dinner, family dinners are important. That's where you learn what's going on. Who are you seeing? How's school going? What's that? We need to return to that nuclear family, having that nuclear dinner whenever possible. It's incredibly important. And I'm guilty of not doing it enough. I get it. But it's incredibly important.
I tell you what, every meal we eat in the house, except mornings, it's very helter-skelter.
Mornings
I'll
different.
make the kids breakfast.
Sure.
I'll make the kids breakfast, and they'll sit at the island, the three of them, and they'll eat together. And I'm there on the other side of the island. I'm on the other side of the island, drinking my coffee, talking to them, right?
Yeah.
Wife is getting ready for work, and we're doing all that. But the thing is, with every other meal, like if it's a weekend and we're eating lunch, we're sitting down at the table.
See, that should, that, you
We're
know,
sitting down at
I
the
think
table.
that should be the gold standard. You know what, I'm going to try to follow that, because we do see each other in the mornings. And we have a 13-year-old, so we see him every morning. But see, I'm on the air at that time, so I'll see him for about 10 minutes, because I come up, during the top of the hour break, and I'll talk to him a little bit. What do you got going on at school, and how are things going? When's football start? That sort of thing. It's contact, and he knows I'm there. I mean, and so we connect, but then we have longer conversation in the evening. But you're right about, we need more of that. I think America needs more of that, because what we come back to, we bring this full circle again. We need more conversations with our families, with the people that live next door, with the guy that I see at the grocery store. Here's something else. I've kind of noticed this. Walk through a store. I don't know how. I like going to grocery stores. I always have, because I feel like it's the epitome of what's great about America. Go to a big place where you can buy tires and toothbrushes and meat and steak and batteries all in the same damn building. I mean, that's America to me, right? But when you walk through, let's say Costco. Well, you say as an example. I like Costco.
Okay.
Right? See a guy walking at you. Look at him. Look him in the eye. They won't look you in the eye. Most guys are like doing this whole thing. No, man. Look a guy in the eye. How you doing? And you know what? Open the door for the woman. Oh, I don't know. Open the door. Say thank you. And tell somebody today, hey, you know what? You're doing a good job. You can change somebody's whole day. You might change them more than you realize. I really appreciate it. You're doing a great job today. Tell somebody that. I mean, you got to, because we don't do that enough. I open the doors for strangers all the time. If I see somebody, if it depends on the situation or what's going on, if I see somebody broken down the road, a woman looks like she was an old woman, I'd wheel in. If I had time, I'd go say, change your tire, whatever's got to be done, help people out. We need to do that sort of thing. It's called community, and that's what binds us together.
We've
Right?
lost it. Everybody's so worried about getting to their next destination, the next task, the next thing to do that's only about them.
Always.
And it's so funny because the grocery store, I love going to the damn grocery store.
I love it.
I try to go every day. I
got
go every
friends-
day.
I got
I
friends that say-
forget shit.
Yeah.
I forget shit so I could go back later that day or the next day, because I love the interactions that I can potentially have with either also other patrons that are buying stuff from there, or the dude in the meat Here's a good point. Corey. His name's Corey. I'm telling you, his name is Corey. And the manager's name is Shawn, spelled the same way as mine. And whenever they see me standing at the glass, they come out and go, "We don't have any tri-tip today, man." They know what I want. They know what I want because I built that relationship.
Right.
They get excited to see me, like, or will they see me if I don't stop? They'll come out and they go, "Hey, Shawn." I go, "What's up, man? Hey, I've got 4 back there. How many do you want?" I go, "Give me 2. I'll see you in 10 minutes." Right. But when you have those interactions, like, I'm going to tell you, most people listening right now, like, well, okay, great. They know what you want to eat. Cool. Who gives a shit? No, that's not what it's about. They feel the value that they hold, and they feel good about that because they know that they have what you want. And so it's an exchange of energy, right? You're paying for the steak. You're giving them good conversation. You're respecting them, because not enough customers respect the people that are working in the grocery stores or anywhere in general. Right? We think we're above all these people, but they get so happy when they see me go, "Oh, hell yeah. I'm gonna grill that thing up tonight." Because, dude, that's human interaction, man. That is human interaction.
And it's establishing that relationship with somebody in your neighborhood. And so, over, I don't know how much time it took them to know your first name or you there, but it took a period of time. There was a get to know you dance somewhere in there where they figured out that tri-tip was your number one thing now. And then maybe you buy a ribeye, but tri-tip's what you want right now. I think that's beautiful, and it's part of the neighborhood. And in a way, I think that's another casualty of all the electronics. We've lost that neighborhood feeling a lot of times. I say hi to my neighbors some. I don't live in a tight neighborhood. We've got, bigger lots on a street, but we know our neighbors. We say hi, and I feel like that's lost a lot of time because people are just doing this. So it's like, "Hey, man, look up here." Like Sydney Sweeney would say, "Eyes up," and say, "Hey." Okay, that's a different reference, but say, "Hey." Say hi to somebody. And again, you have no idea the power of telling somebody what a good job they're doing. And if I can impress on people anything today, just say, "Man, I appreciate you." because you can change somebody's whole day, which could change their whole next day, which can change. These things have a ripple effect. They really do. Positive interaction, holding a door for somebody. Hey, can I help you with that bag of groceries, ma'am? It looks like, yeah, whatever it might be. I use the grocery store as an example because it's so easy. You can help somebody. Open the door. Hey, how you doing? You're doing a great job. Because nobody tells anybody anymore. They're so, I think the term, self-absorbed. Self-absorbed. And am I guilty of it? Yeah, sometimes. Sure, I get all,
Absolutely.
sure. But we can do better.
There's pressure, right, in everybody's life, right? Especially what we do. We're speaking out. We're on camera a lot. And, there's a certain amount of pressure, welcome pressure, and self-inflicted pressure, right?
All
but
that,
it doesn't mean that we can't go out there and spread a little ripple of kindness. And
I should mention that for the people that put the shit in my inbox, who are the debate. I laughed there only because the debate here a week or two ago was, Gruber colors his hair. People, I don't color my damn hair. I can add anybody in the room. I'm blessed genetically. I don't color, but there was and there are all these people just getting nasty in my inbox. Yes, you do. You look like you put shoe polish in your hair. I'm like, is this really how you spend your day? I mean, you think about who's taking time to send an email to tell me that over my hair. Yeah.
You do have nice hair.
You
do. I mean, it's like not one strand is out of place and it's perfectly colored.
News anchor hair.
What's that?
News anchor hair,
News anchor hair. Yeah. Good Lord Almighty. Well, I mean, I'm turning gray everywhere, and I'm 46, but hey, I guess it is what it is.
Well, I'm reasonable. I'm 59 and I don't color my hair. So it is. And if this way, the whole family was that way. But the fact that anybody would sit there and argue and take shots at me and take the time to send me an email, or in one case, one lady sent me repeated emails like it was rapid fire. I was like, easy. Jeez. I mean, shit. Yeah. It was bizarre. It was.
Oh, you got to love the inbox, Steve. Oh. You got to love the inbox.
But you got to talk to them.
Yeah.
Same thing. Mm-hmm. You got to talk to them and I put my email out there every day. I'll get piles of them every day. And most of them are asking questions, or could you cover this story today? Or I like what you did here. But every now and then you just get this crackpot that just wants to talk about. Some of them I'm like, I think I should call 911 because I think you're having issues. Probably should get you hooked up with a professional, back, by the way,
there's those people.
Back to that mental illness thing. There is one state that I think that has done it well, and that's Florida. I do think where you live, the Baker Act, which has been around for 35 years. Yeah. I think the Baker Act is, Ivy's from Florida and Sister Sarah's from Florida. So I'm surrounded by, Florida people. And so we go there a fair amount because they have family. So I've gotten to know the Baker Act. They can just basically impound you without arresting you, just impound you for up to 3 days, sort things out, pat you on the back and say, hey, do better. Hope things work out. Without having to create an arrest record. I think for 35 years, it should be a model for other states around the country. I seriously think that. I think the Baker Act is been polished up and improved enough that I think it's a really good model for other states. So you don't have to arrest somebody who's, just out of sorts, out of whack, angry, having a tantrum or whatever it might be. And so, you're there in Florida. I think the Baker Act is a great piece of legislation.
I've seen it work real time, not on me, but someone very, very close to me.
Right.
And it's very humane. The only thing at the time I didn't like, I wasn't able to talk to that person like that day, but then I got to go see them. But, it was in and out and it's all done for safety. Right. So I just think it's super important. So they can go there, they can evaluate these individuals. Right. And they can get them the support that they need. I do feel Florida's done it right. I really, truly do.
Yeah.
Nothing is perfect. We still have some crackpots here, like you'd say, but at the same time, that if you have a family member in Florida that's threatening to do something to themselves and you speak up, that person is, ushered off and they go and they
you have a resource.
And
and honestly, in other states, you might hesitate because you're like, well, damn, if I do that, they're going to get arrested. Then they're going to be in jail and it's going to compound the issue and make it worse. Not in Florida. If they can settle the situation down, sort it out and just kind of, like I say, put them on the off ramp, couple of days, 3 days. I think 3 days is the max. You can improve the situation, right?
And they don't put them in like this. And for the listeners that don't live in Florida, they don't put them in this, mental ward like you would see in Girl Interrupted way back in the day with, what was it? Was it Brittany Murphy or Angelina Jolie? I probably got all of them wrong.
Maybe it was Winona Ryder. Not like that.
Yeah, or something like, it's nothing crazy. Like it's a section of the actual hospital, right? They're in, they're inpatient. It's at a hospital, right? One of the big hospitals. So it's not like they throw them in this room where they're, in a straight jacket and, padded walls and, people being mean to them. Man, it's there for people to support them.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. And I think it should be a model for other states. And I've said that for many years. I've said it on my program. I mean, look, that was one of the reasons we have states. I mean, one of the driving reasons we have states is so that you can say, well, for example, in Mississippi right now, they've done exceptionally well in improving their educational system. I mean, Mississippi used to be the laughingstock of the world when it came to education. Not anymore. They call it the Mississippi Miracle. Well, if that's working in Mississippi, maybe it'll work in Montana or Massachusetts. Maybe we should look at these things because that's how it's supposed to work. If it's working in Florida, maybe we should try it in Nevada or Michigan. I mean, that's the point. You have states that try different things and improve and make them work. And yet, again, it's like the states have ADD. They don't pay attention. Oh, we're doing our own thing. We got this over here. We don't care what you do down there. Oh, that's a red state. That's a blue state. We can never do what they're doing. Come on. Get your head out of your ass.
These are people's lives. Who gives a shit what color state it is? It's America.
Exactly. If it's working, implement that. Oh, it's Florida. We can never do anything that Florida's doing. That's Ron DeSantis and blah, 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 blah. Stop it. If the Baker Act works there, it'll work in Massachusetts. And the governor there, whatever her name is, I can't think. Anyhow, it'll work.
These are all good points, but it makes too much sense, Steve. Makes too much sense.
We try.
We don't want, we can't do anything that makes too much sense. We got to give people a little bit of anxiety about what the hell's going on in their current community and their surroundings. So that's not doable. Scare the shit out of them a little bit, man.
Everything's fine except for monkeypox. Bird flu. I mean, stop it.
There's always something. There's always something. You hear it all the time now. But look, man, I really do appreciate you coming on, have this conversation with me, and and bringing your amazing personality and your wisdom and your opinions to the show. It was freaking awesome, man.
Shawn, honestly, it's been an honor. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been an honor, and I love doing it. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, I can't wait for more interaction with you. Can't wait to see you on Friday. And hey, next time you're in Florida, let me know. Let's link up.
All right. Thank you.
All right, guys. You heard it from my boy Steve. Check him out on America's Voice Now. Always doing amazing pieces and really trying to stay neutral, give his opinion, and help America be truly great. And so go check him out and share this episode with someone you know, love, and trust. And until next time, stay determined.